Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. Cases, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Welcome on in to another edition of the Cam Show here on Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air, as he does 5 days a week when we're live on YouTube high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. Boy, so much has happened in the last day. I've showered, I've brushed my teeth, and I've grabbed the microphone and come on here again, live high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcast. Today, we're talking about if you're so optimistic that the Bruins are going to make the playoffs again next year, going to return to the Stanley Cup playoffs, who is the one player that can carry them the most, that can erase this 15-point deficit? Who is that player? We'll tell you who that is. Plus, speaking of great players, man, Roman Anthony is now getting compared to the very best hitter who has ever lived. And the craziest part about it is it's not that crazy. Comparing him to Ted Williams is not as nuts as you think, and we will tell you exactly why. Plus, some more discourse on Drake May, Mike Vrabel. I said yesterday that Mike Vrabel would not have drafted Drake May if he was the Patriots coach last year like he should have been, whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent. But another analyst is saying that I don't think Mike Vrabel trusts Drake May, that he wants a little bit more from Drake May. We'll tell you why that's pretty dumb. All that and more coming up on this episode of The Cam Show. But we start where we start. You saw the thumbnail. We're talking Bruins. That's how we lead off pretty much every day. Pretty much every day. That's what gets the butts in the seats and gets me talking and ranting. So without any further ado, let's hop into this. The Bruins missed the playoffs for the first time in 9 years last year. It was pretty unorthodox. Not something that Bruins fans are very familiar with, especially Bruins fans of my generation or younger. In fact, they weren't even really close. They finished 15th in the Eastern Conference. And let's be honest, they didn't really get better in this offseason. And yet there are still plenty of optimistic Bruins fans. I've even seen some people that cover the team that really think the Bruins can make a push towards the postseason this year, that this team can make the playoffs. When you look at the fire sale they had at the trade deadline and the lack of needle-moving moves that they made in the offseason, if you want to get the playoffs back to the Garden, you're going to need to look internally. You're going to need to look within. Players who were on the team last year are going to need to step up this year. So my question then becomes, what player is it? What player holds the cards here? What player can single-handedly change the Bruins' fortunes and take them back where they belong, being in the playoffs, and then disappointing us, not before the playoffs? Who can do that? Who can erase this deficit and get the Bruins there? Of course, what Bruins fans are going to say is David Pastrnak, right? He's the best player on the team. Top 5 offensive player in the sport. He worked absolute miracles last year, especially after the trade deadline, to get to his 100-point season and to get Morgan Geekie to 30 goals and get him a payday. It's not just about Pasternak's stats. He's improving his team. The Bruins go as Pasta goes until the tail end of last year when Pasta was going really hot and the Bruins still couldn't win because they just had nothing around him. He is the franchise. Probably should be the captain because of that. And he is certainly the only player the opposing coaches key in on when you're taking out the whiteboard. And yet they still can't stop him. All that said, clearly, David Pastrnak is the key to getting the Bruins into the playoffs as the best player, right? Wrong. Incorrect. The idea that if David Pastrnak just goes nuclear, that the Bruins have a chance is a stupid idea. You know why? He already went nuclear. He scored 106 points last year on the worst Bruins team in 20 years. He led the league in even strength goals playing alongside Morgan Geekie and Pavel Zacha. He is one of the top 5 offensive players in the league. I just don't know how much more you can ask of David Pastrnak. I don't know how much more you can get out of David Pastrnak. I think he carried you as far as he could on his lonesome in the last couple of months of the season. And it only got you to 76 points. I mean, you can't blame him. He did what he could. He scored. He made his teammates better. It's not like he was just the villain in a sports movie. He was in it for himself. One star forward does not get you there. This is not basketball. So yes, David Pastrnak is the best player on the Bruins team. You need Pastrnak to have a really good season, as we're accustomed to, for the Bruins to even have a shot to get back to the postseason. But he is not the one that can carry them. You just can't do it in this league. Not with a star winger like Pastrnak. And who knows what Pasternak's future is with the Bruins, by the way, if this continues to get worse. We'll talk about that another day. But as much as I want to say it's Pastrnak, that's not the answer. This is not a one-player kind of sport, except for one position. Okay? David Pastrnak is not the answer to the Bruins player who can single-handedly take them to the playoffs. The real answer for the one Boston Bruins player who could single-handedly lead them into the playoff discussion is Jeremy Swayman. Need not look any further than the goaltender. There are two positions in all of the North American major sports who have their own records. It's pitchers in baseball, and it's the goaltender in hockey. And while the NHL, it's not super important that you have a great goaltender in order to make a run. I mean, look, the Oilers have made the final the last 2 years. Corey Crawford was the goaltender in a dynasty. He and Antti Niemi. You don't need to have a Vezina winning goalie to be a Stanley Cup winner or Stanley Cup contender. But if you're trying to go from a bad team to a good team, that's where you kind of have to start. That's the one who can make the most impact with not much else around him. Jeremy Swayman is the answer. If the Bruins are going to make the jump from 15th in the Eastern Conference to a playoff spot in 1 year, with a couple of guys coming back from injury, but with less skill than you started last year with, Jeremy Swayman is the answer. I mean, pretty simple here. He followed up a career year and a career contract with a career worst year and career worst criticism. Don Sweeney paid him superstar money, gave him a superstar workload, and got e-bug stats. You know it by now. Swayman led the league in goals against last year, was under a .900 save percentage for the first time in his career, and over 3 goals a game for the first time in his career. In hockey, the only singular player who can come close to erasing a 15-point deficit in the standings is the goaltender, especially the way the Bruins have put an emphasis on that position the last 15, 20 years. Besides that, it's a generational prospect. Like, we're talking Crosby, McKinnon, McDavid, those kind of guys, sure. And by the way, Crosby and McDavid, it took a couple years. And Crosby had Lemieux on his team. He had Evgeny Malkin on his team. He had Marc-Andre Fleury on his team. It takes a couple years. Unless it's the goalie. If David Pastrnak goes nuclear next season, it doesn't mean the Bruins get any better. He went nuclear last season and they had 76 points. If Jeremy Swayman goes nuclear this year, that makes a huge difference. That could get them where they need to go, which this year was 91 points. A 15-point difference. The only one who can steal points on your roster is a goalie, especially one who we know can be a good goalie, who we know can be an all-star caliber Vezina votes kind of goaltender like Jeremy Swayman. Swayman obviously had the bigger workload last year than ever. He made the jump from 43 starts 2 years ago to 58 starts last year after the big contract. Surely that's crazy for a goalie at his age to make that jump and be successful. Right? Like, as much as we want to put it all on Swayman, the fact that he played that much for the first time in his career, we can't blame him for not having a good year, right? Also wrong. Why don't we look a couple hours to the north in Montreal, where it's even more of a pressure cooker? It's the biggest pressure cooker in the league. In Montreal, Sam Montembeault made the jump from 40 starts to 60 starts this past season for the first time in his career. Not 15 more starts like Swayman, but 20 more. Third in the NHL in games started this past year. Yet, had a .900 save percentage and a career best 282 goals against. First time he's been under 3 in his whole career. And looking at his team, the Habs also made the jump from 76 points to 91 points. The exact point total the Bruins had this year to the exact point total they would have needed to make the postseason, because Montreal was the one with 91. Like, you want to see an example right there of how a young, inexperienced team can make a jump from bad, bottom of the barrel bad, to the postseason in 1 year by their goaltender? You've got an example in your own division from your most cherished rivals. Montreal did it no more than a few months ago. Now, are these teams apples to apples? No, they're not. Okay, and I'm sure people are going to be getting in the comments saying that. Okay, the Canadiens, they have a lot more young talent than the Bruins have. Very inexperienced. You know, Nick Suzuki had a terrific year. Ivan Demidov comes in at the end of the year. Lane Hudson wins the Calder for Rookie of the Year as a defenseman. He really came on in the second half of the season. And so there are definitely other things. But we're talking about just making a jump into relevancy, into being in the playoff picture. And if there's one guy, when you look at the Canadiens, who made a huge jump, it's Sam Montembeault, the goaltender, who's only 2 years older than Swayman. It's not like he's 35. All right? He's still a guy who's still played the same amount of seasons, still young in his career. And he makes that jump, has one of the biggest workloads in the entire league. And he takes it on. He has a great year. Can Jeremy Swayman do that for the Bruins this year? That might be their only hope of getting to the postseason. And look, there are good things that you can point to for Swayman, other than the fact that, hey, he probably just won't be that bad again, right? But he had a terrific World Championships. Oh, who cares about that tournament? Who plays at that tournament? NHL guys do play at that tournament, okay? And they won the gold for the first time in 90 some odd years. And Jeremy Swayman pitched a shutout in the gold medal game. And he was fantastic in the tournament. He had one bad game, I think the first start he had. And after that, he was completely lights out. And he's going to have a preseason this year, which he didn't have last year. That's his own fault. Not giving him a pass. But he didn't have a preseason because of this holdout, which got more and more ridiculous by the day. And the Bruins in front of him were a mess last year, of course, mainly in attack. But certainly they weren't one of the best defensive teams in the league. But with some guys coming back from injury, Charlie McAvoy, Elias Lindholm, you look out there, Sway, you've got a pretty comparable decor to what you had in 23-24. When you had the All-Star season, when you carried the Bruins to a first-round victory over the Leafs. It's pretty similar. When you were the best goaltender in the playoffs that year and only played 2 rounds, 13 games. 12 games, actually. Ullmark started game 2 of the Toronto series. Does it help that he doesn't have a good tandem partner? No, it doesn't. It does not help. But then again, I'll look north again to Montreal. Who's Sam Montembeault's backup? Who's his tandem guy? They made the postseason. Who is Linus Ullmark's tandem guy? They made the postseason. And Linus Ullmark was a huge reason why. That doesn't make Jeremy Swayman or Don Sweeney look better. But you want to talk about another team in your own division that made the jump from lottery team to playoffs in 1 year. Linus Ullmark for the Ottawa Senators did that. Right? They jumped up 14 points. Bruins need to make up 15. You've got 2 teams in your own division that have the blueprint. And I think more specifically with Ullmark and the Senators, I don't know how much better they got for skaters this past year. They already had that young core. Stützle had a better year, but you already had Stützle. You already had Tkachuk. You already had Sanderson. You already had Shane Pinto. You added Linus Ullmark. There's no more important position in the Bruins right now than getting a bounce-back year from Jeremy Swayman. That's the only guy on your roster who can have a great year and single-handedly kind of take you to the playoffs. Jeremy Swayman's the answer. I did have a thought for Elias Lindholm, by the way. You know, if he gets better, if he becomes a 60 to 65 point guy, which I think is still a tough ask, because I just don't think he is that. I think he was that for 2 seasons when he had a couple of Hall of Fame caliber players around him. But I don't think he's that. But if Elias Lindholm can be that, let's just say he's a 65 point guy. He's number 1 center. Then all of a sudden you have a pretty good first line. All-time good? No. President's Trophy good? No. Playoff good? Probably. Pastrnak, Elias Lindholm at 65 points, and Morgan Geekie somewhere near 30 goals again? That's a pretty good one. And if Elias Lindholm's getting better, that means he can play on the power play, which was awful for the Bruins last year. 17%, one of the worst marks in the league. And I think we all know as hockey fans, if you have a pretty daunting first line and you have a good power play unit, you can sneak into the playoffs. You can. And obviously he's a pretty dang good penalty killer either way. So he's got the defensive part. You got a killer first line, got a couple checking lines in there. Even in 2025, that could get you into the postseason. But you need not look any further than your goaltender, just like we have for the Bruins for the last 20 years. They've had some Hall of Famers all around the place, but when they don't have good goaltending seasons, they don't have good seasons. Period. Full stop. If you get that this year, if you get the bounce back from Jeremy Swayman and get the Swayman that we have seen, that we did see 2 years ago, then maybe the Bruins do make this interesting. Maybe they do challenge Montreal and Ottawa for those final wild card spots. Maybe it's Tampa. Maybe they take a step back. Maybe it's Toronto without Mitch Marner. Maybe they take a huge step back. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If anybody on this Bruins team, obviously you need a lot of guys to step up. I think that's kind of the hidden main point in all of this. But if there's going to be one guy who's going to have a huge bounce back season and can carry the Bruins there to the playoffs, who is it and why? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and we come at you live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Bruins, hockey, Red Sox, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. When we come back, we will revisit the Red Sox. We'll actually take a look, a trip down memory lane through Red Sox history. Why Roman Anthony is getting compared to the greatest hitter that ever lived, and why it's not even crazy. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Elevate your experience with Grenco Science, the leaders in cutting-edge vaporizers. Whether you're at home or on the go, our sleek, powerful devices deliver smooth, consistent hits every time. Quality you can trust, innovation you can feel. Grenco Science. Take your vapor game to the next level. Visit us at GrencoScience.com.
It all began with a simple idea, cutting handles off old ski sticks to create better pull-up bars. This sparked the creation of the revolutionary Engels 90 handles. After testing over 70 prototypes with 300 athletes, our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. With over 20 years of experience, our expert staff, who've dived everywhere from the Galapagos to the Maldives, provides personalized advice to help you find the perfect gear for any underwater journey. Shop leading brands like GoPro, Aqualung, and Scuba Pro. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com.
And now, back to our show.
Back to our show, The Cam Show, here on Rogue Media Sports Network. It's called that because I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air behind the glass every weekday live at high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. We talked about the Bruins, the one player who could kind of single-handedly turn this thing around and get them into the playoffs. I'll just give you a hint. He's the one that wears the most equipment. But we kind of went through a couple players and why that could be. But yeah, Jeremy Swayman's the pick. And then we'll talk later about another really odd take about Mike Vrabel and Drake May. Like, guys, I thought I had the weird take about Drake May and Mike Vrabel saying yesterday that Vrabel wouldn't have drafted him if he was the coach of the Patriots at the time, which he should have been. But this one from Michael Holley is even weirder, and I want to break that one down as well and kind of go over this. But then I'm going to do something sacrilegious. Okay? Because when it comes to the Red Sox, and they have a bright young star, there are certain players you don't compare them to, right? We're going to do that today. Okay? We're going to break that rule, and we're going to do that today. Anybody who follows the Boston Red Sox, or baseball in general, I guess, has heard the name Ted Williams a million times. Teddy Ballgame, Splendid Splinter, the kid. Well, the Red Sox have a new kid on the block right now. And Roman Anthony is a name you'll hear a million more times throughout his career. There are certain names in Boston sports that you just don't touch. When a young player is coming up for the Bruins, you don't compare him to Bobby Orr. You don't compare a young center to Bill Russell. You definitely don't compare a young Red Sox to Ted Williams and all the glare that comes with it. You don't do that. Ted Williams is the greatest hitter that ever lived, and for my money, the greatest baseball player to ever live, a huge icon within this city and within the game of baseball. But when we compare Roman Anthony to Ted Williams, it's not hyperbole anymore. There are real stats to back this up. Normally, you just hear that and you say, oh, man, shut it down. No one is Ted Williams. Your mind, it just shuts it off. But there is a player in the Red Sox lineup right now that is doing things that no rookie for this franchise has done in the 86 years since Ted Williams debuted in 1939 as a 21-year-old, just like Roman Anthony is right now. He had a heck of a night in Houston on Tuesday. How about it? A classic Teddy ball game kind of ball game. He went 1 for 2. The Red Sox won 14-1 against a team that was leading the AL West. And Roman Anthony was 1 for 2, and he's getting comparisons to Ted Williams. Yeah, you know why? Because he walked 4 times and he homered on a 428-foot piss missile to center field. That would be a home run in 29 ballparks. The only one it wouldn't be, ironically enough, was Fenway Park. But he's been smoking the ball. And that's when he's swinging the bat. Because that was a Ted Williams kind of game right there. In fact, no Red Sox had walked 4 times in a single game in 4 years. Kyle Schwarber was the one to do that. No Red Sox has hit and gotten on base to start their career like Roman Anthony has since, well, Ted Williams. In 52 career games, the Roman Empire is conquering MLB. He's also conquering the history books because this stat flashed up on Nesson. The first player since 1939 with 20-plus extra base hits and 20-plus walks in his first 51 career games. That's 21 extra base hits and 32 walks, to be exact. And yeah, that player in 1939 was Ted Williams, the only other Red Sox player to accomplish that. Not Tris Speaker, not Carl Yastrzemski, not Fred Lynn in his MVP Rookie of the Year season in 1975. Not Mookie Betts, not Nomar, Roman Anthony, and Ted Williams. That's it. And the comparisons are there. Like, again, it's in my mind, too, to shut it down. But I can't do that yet. It's not just, the corner outfielders, tall, seemingly lanky guys with broad shoulders and those strong, beautiful left-handed swings at the plate. It's not just the complete command of the strike zone that Roman Anthony has right now. The kid's barely 21. He's played 50 major league games, and he's up there. He looks like a 10-year vet. You can't outsmart the kid at the plate. It's not just that. It's the stats now, too. It's not just, oh, boy, he's got the look of Ted Williams. It's not just your old great uncle who actually watched Ted for a couple of years at the end of his career and said, yeah, Roman Anthony kind of looks like him. It's stats, too. It's numbers, too. In fact, just looking at the game he had Tuesday night, the youngest players in MLB history with 4+ walks and a homer in the same game, Mel Ott, Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, and Roman Anthony. I know we're cherry picking some stats here. I know. But anytime you're just there with those three other guys with a combined 1,700 home runs between them, 1,800, whatever it is, and all three are Hall of Fame caliber players, 2 are in, then you're doing something right. I don't care what kind of cherry picking stats you're doing. If those are the guys that are there with you, you're nailing it. And that's what Roman Anthony is doing. He's the most excited I've been about a prospect of any kind in my entire life watching Boston sports. I even asked my dad the other day, is there anything you can compare it to? And he said, yeah, Larry Bird. The guy's been watching Boston sports for 60 years. He's a little too young for the first season of Bobby Orr, who was the phenom. But Larry Bird was the other guy he compared him to in terms of the hype in this city. Didn't even come with number 1 pick quarterback Drew Bledsoe. Not quite what it was for Roger Clemens was another one he brought up. Roman Anthony, Larry Bird, Bobby Orr, Ted Williams, who, by the way, Ted Williams himself, a minor league sensation, right? He was known the country over as a baseball prospect before that was really a thing. You could count on one hand how many guys before the war were known as these great prospects that were going to come up and save the game. Ted Williams was one of them. He was going to save this faltering Red Sox franchise, just like Bobby Orr was going to do for the Bruins, just like Larry Bird was going to do for the Celtics. And it sounds eerily familiar to what we've been told about Roman Anthony for this Red Sox team that has fallen on hard times the last half decade. And it's a city that is desperate for a good baseball team again and is desperate for a baseball star. Some would say Rafael Devers never fit that. Roman Anthony right now does. Mookie Betts did. David Ortiz definitely did. Pedro did. Nomar did. Ted Williams definitely did. You want to talk about a minor league sensation? How much were we following Roman Anthony in Worcester this year? He kind of somewhat quietly became the number 1 prospect in baseball last year because we as the Red Sox fans were looking at Marcelo Meyer, because he was a top 5 pick. Christian Campbell was rising through the ranks. And of course, we knew about Roman Anthony, but all of a sudden it's like, wow, Roman's number 1. Roman's the best prospect they got. And he's hitting 500-foot grand slams. I was doing videos on here saying, when in the hell are they going to call this kid up? MLB associates or front office people were saying, well, I don't understand why they're not calling him up. And again, the pressure was, that the reasoning was from the Red Sox, we don't want him to have that pressure of being the franchise savior. Ted Williams did it, handled it head on, and a couple years later, he was hitting 400, led the Red Sox to the World Series in 1946. Maybe that's kind of the natural progression for Roman Anthony. I don't think he's going to hit 400 in a season, but maybe this is the savior the Red Sox need. And this town is buzzing for him, man. I went to the game last weekend, first game at Fenway this year, just moved back. And the amount of number 19 jerseys and t-shirts. I was wearing one of them too. The amount of number 19 jerseys and t-shirts around that ballpark was astounding. The kid's been up for 2 months and everyone's on board. Everyone in this city is on board. Well, except for one guy. For some reason, there is one guy out there who is not yet on board with the Roman Empire, and the comparisons to Ted Williams. There's something more he could be doing, apparently.
Red Sox currently are 10th in Major League Baseball with 146 home runs as a team. Over their past 4 games, where they went 1-3, they're averaging 5.5 runs a game. So it doesn't sound like that they're currently suffering from any sort of power shortage or inability to score runs. And yet, at the same time, I'd be hard-pressed, and I'm sure you, the Red Sox fans and Fenway faithful, would be hard-pressed to figure out or say who exactly is the big bopper in this lineup. Who's the power hitter? Who's the certain home run threat? There really isn't one in particular, but I'm going to ask during this home stretch, as they have a quarter of the season remaining, for one certain somebody who is excellent with the bat in his hands, both especially in terms of plate discipline, getting on base, as well as just making contact with high exit velocity, and that would be one Roman Anthony. He has in 180 at-bats on the season, but 1, 2, 3 home runs. And in my three-point stance today, I'm calling for Roman Anthony, who's excellent at making contact and excellent at getting on base, to try to maybe alter that swing just a little bit and give the Red Sox a little extra punch, pop, and power in their lineup, because the way they're pitching these days, I think down the stretch they're going to need it.
Okay. Roman Anthony is doing things that no Red Sox rookie has done since Ted Williams. And that's not good enough for Nick Fitzy Stevens. On the classic WEEI afternoon show known as WEEI Afternoons, the least funny comedian that's ever been put behind a microphone, Nick Fitzy Stevens. Oh, but did you see how he said 3? Oh, that's so funny. That's so quirky. Probably the worst person ever put on Boston Sports Talk Radio, which is really saying something. Mike Salk is out there rolling in his grave. Seriously? The guy is putting up Ted Williams kind of numbers, but wait till Coach Fitzy gets a hold of him. This blowhard wants Roman Anthony to alter his swing? What are you talking about? He's literally the best rookie hitter in baseball right now. He gets on base at like a 430 clip. The last month, he's crushing the ball. And he's like, yeah, but it's not good enough. He needs to hit more home runs for them. Like, genuinely, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? This month, he's hitting 314. He's slugging 543. And his OPS is just shy of 1,000. He's homered in back-to-back games, which, to be fair, it had only been one game in a row when Fitzy said this. And in the last 30 games, he's been incredible. He's hitting 300. He's got a 966 OPS. And he's getting on base at a 450 clip. But what he should be doing is swinging at worse pitches so that he can extend his swing and alter it and hit more home runs and hit more fly balls than line drives and hit into more outs that would have been walks. He should have drawn 5 walks last night. He got screwed on the strikeout that he had. He was caught looking on 2 ball 4s. But Nick Fitzy Stevens saying, no, he needs to hit more home runs. This is where I kind of can't stand it with the Boston media. And I do say the media because it's not really fans from what I can tell. There are a couple blowhards that call into Sports Talk Radio, but I really don't think this is a sentiment held by the fans. I think the fans are just so excited to have someone as skilled and as talented as Roman Anthony. And with all the experts saying, look, the home runs are going to come. He's been a home run hitter at every level. He is knocking the crap out of the ball. He's the most selective player in the lineup, and he's 21 years old. I think the home runs are going to come, but Fitzy needs it right now. Fitzy needs this 21-year-old kid, 50 games into the major leagues, to change his swing when it's working, when he's getting on base, when he's got some of the best exit velo in the entire league. Fitzy needs him to alter that swing. He needs more home runs. This is where I just can't take, and he's dead serious about that. Like, that's not like him trying to be ironic. That's dead serious. How about this from Tyler Milliken, who is a fan, is on Sports Talk Radio, and knows what he's talking about. Roman Anthony, since July 1st, 33 games and 146 plate appearances, hitting .325, on base at a .445 clip, slugging .508 for a .954 OPS. 3 homers, 11 doubles, a triple, 25% K rate, 15% walk rate, 63% hard hit rate, and a 95 average exit velo with a 166 WRC plus. Third in on-base percentage in all of Major League Baseball since July 1st. He's a freak, man. He's unbelievable. He's 21. He's got the third best on-base percentage in baseball the last month and a half. The command of the strike zone is impeccable. I know they don't listen to Nick Fitzy-Stevens. I know they don't listen to me, but Roman Anthony, don't alter your swing. Do whatever the heck you're doing right now. It's working. You're very good, and you have the opportunity to be one of the all-time greats. Dare I say, you could have a career that could in some ways rival Ted Williams with the way that it's going right now. Or is that just sacrilegious? Let me know in the comments section below. Do you see the vision of Roman Anthony and Ted Williams, or do you think this is just too crazy? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're coming at you live on YouTube, high noon Eastern time, every weekday, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. Check out the other videos on the channel, talking Red Sox, Bruins, everything else going on in the world of Boston sports. Coming up next, we'll take a trip down to Foxborough, outside of Boston, and another controversial take about Mike Vrabel and Drake May and what that relationship might be like and what Mike Vrabel want a little bit more of from his starting quarterback. Let's tackle that next on The Cam Show.
We'll be right back after these quick words from our sponsors. This is Rogue Media Network.
At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Our research-backed bioavailable formulas are crafted with your health in mind, ensuring the highest quality and safety. From preconception to pregnancy and beyond, we exceed industry standards with independent testing for harmful contaminants. With our comprehensive practitioner directory, personalized care is always within reach. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at fullwellfertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. We put every machine through 6,000 rigorous tests to guarantee long-lasting performance. With cutting-edge technology and a commitment to energy efficiency, Gevi makes your life easier, greener, and more convenient. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at gevi.com to discover more. That's gevi.com.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. We use the finest materials like Italian top-grain leather, known for its durability and luxurious feel, and apply meticulous attention to detail in every piece we create. Our replicas are crafted with the same care and precision as the originals, but a price that makes them accessible. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. Using advanced tech fabrics that are 100% waterproof, UV tear, and abrasion-resistant, we ensure lasting durability with hand-sewn double-stitch seams. Our commitment to quality, precision engineering, and customizable options is unmatched. With vertically integrated operations and express shipping, we deliver premier protection at affordable prices. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
And now, back to our show.
Back here on The Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. That's why it's called The Cam Show. Zach Burke is behind the glass, keeping us on the air. We have talked about Roman Anthony and the Ted Williams comparison and why it's actually not that crazy, except for one blowhard sports talk radio guy who's just the worst, like just the least funny guy ever put on sports talk radio, which is really saying something. We've also talked about the Bruins and who can lead them back to the playoffs. And of course, the Patriots are looking to get back to the playoffs too. Okay. I had a segment yesterday. This is the second day in a row we're going to do some kind of Patriots hot takes about Mike Vrabel and Drake May. Yesterday, I talked about Drake May, the gunslinger, why Mike Vrabel wouldn't want that. And this is the video, actually, the clip from the segment yesterday that's out on the Instagram today to give you an idea of what I'm talking about.
It's a bad decision, and I think we're going to need better from him, and I think he knows that. And
Mike Vrabel was the Patriots coach in 2024 and was going into that draft with the number 3 overall pick. I don't know that he would have picked Drake May. If he had his pick of quarterbacks in that same draft class, so no Caleb Williams, no Jaden Daniels, the same situation the Patriots were in, I don't think he picks Drake May. I think he'd be much more likely to trade back and pick Bo Nix. Kind of guy who gets the car in the garage, who takes care of the football, is an accurate passer, is not going to raise your ceiling all that much, but is going to raise your floor quite a bit. Because let's look at it. Let's look at Mike Vrabel's successful tenure as an NFL head coach with the Tennessee Titans. Okay? He had Ryan Tannehill when he took that team to the AFC Championship game.
He did.
When Vrabel went there, to the time Vrabel left, Ryan Tannehill was his guy. And you can see why when you look at the interception numbers.
Let's do it.
In 5 seasons under Vrabel, Ryan Tannehill threw double-digit picks one time. One time in 5 seasons.
Good point.
In 5 seasons with Miami, Ryan Tannehill had double-digit picks every single year.
So that must have been Vrabel then.
They eliminated that from his game. Mike Vrabel did.
What a good point. What a good point by that handsome young man. So that's on the Instagram today at The Cam Show. And, of course, you can find the full segment here on the YouTube channel. So check that out. If you missed that yesterday, we go into some more depth about Drake May, the gunslinger, where he needs to get better. And that led to, I don't think it led directly to it, but there was another hot take that I saw yesterday from the Boston sports media about this Drake May, Mike Vrabel relationship. And it comes from Michael Hawley, who followed the Patriots with in-depth, all access through the first couple of years of the first dynasty, really 2002, 2003, 2004, for writing Patriot Reign. So he got an unfettered look at this team, and one of the captains on that team was, of course, Mike Vrabel. Here's what he had to say about what Mike Vrabel expects from Drake May and why Drake May might not be hitting it.
His expectations are from his team leaders. I do wonder, though, and I'm trying to think of examples of good quarterbacks, really good quarterbacks, who weren't necessarily the leaders of their teams, because I wonder if Drake May can live up to the expectation that Mike Vrabel has for him as a leader. Now, I think he'll be a good player, but is he one of those guys who will be a good quarterback, but is not necessarily the number one guy for the Patriots? And so that's what I worry about a little bit, Phil, because I know Vrabel can. Vrabel was not the best. Here's an example, and Curran knows this better than most. Vrabel was not the best player on the Patriots ever when he was on the team, but he clearly was one of the leaders on the Patriots. Drake May might be one of the most talented player on the Patriots. I just don't know if he's got that leadership thing in him.
Well, I don't know. It's just a weird thing to be saying about a kid who just turned 22, who's in his second year in the league, who is playing for another head coach, another offensive coordinator, that he's not the guy putting it out there right away. I mean, again, we got to talk about a kid who was drafted number 3 overall, and that comes with a lot of expectations, but went into camp last year knowing he wasn't going to be the starter week 1. Everyone telling him, hey, you're not ready for this. You've got to work on this, this, and this. How does that kid then become the alpha? And by the way, not for nothing, it sounded like last year a lot of his teammates did say that Drake was a good leader. Same way they said it about Mac Jones. I'll tell you who wasn't the alpha in the room their first season as a starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. Tom Brady sure as hell wasn't. He had a lot of balls, a lot of guts, all of that. But was he the alpha on that team? No, he was not. First off, Belichick was the alpha on that team. But in the locker room, there were plenty of them that were not named Tom Brady. Right? It was Lawyer Malloy, Willie McGinnis, Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel. I just don't think we can put a ceiling on this kid's leadership ability a year into his NFL career, especially with the circumstances that he's been thrown into. Like, was Peyton Manning the alpha day one in Indianapolis for Jim Mora? Because that team sucked. That team was awful, much like Drake Mays was the first year. And he got beat up. He threw a lot of picks. And everyone was like, this guy's too much of a gunslinger. He's not going to be able to do it. Kind of the same thing we're saying about Drake May right now. Peyton Manning had an okay career for himself. Do you think Drew Brees was the alpha? Probably not. He was run out of town. He had injuries. He didn't start the whole time he was in San Diego, and they shipped his ass away. You don't have to be a great alpha vocal leader day one as a quarterback in the NFL to be a successful quarterback in this league. You don't have to be. As evidenced by the fact that Tom Brady wasn't, Mac Jones was. Which one of them would you rather have? Was Caleb Williams? I don't know, probably not. And he didn't have a good year. Was Jaden Daniels? Yeah, probably. He had a lot of veteran guys around him. But yeah, he probably was. And they were very good. So, you know, it's hit or miss. I just don't think you can just say right away, well, Drake Mays is not that guy in the locker room. Like, he's barely been there a year. And he's under a totally new coaching staff, a new offensive coordinator, has new weapons around him, and they do actually have a lot of veteran guys now. Yeah, I can definitely put up the take that Mike Vrabel wants to drill some of the stuff out of him, right? He wants him to be less of a gunslinger. He wants him to protect the football more. But I don't think I can get on board yet with Mike Vrabel doesn't think he's a good enough leader. And that Drake May's not going to do enough as a leader. We don't even know what Mike Vrabel's definition of a leader is yet. He's been here for 8 months. We don't know what it is yet. And yet one of the people that talks about the Patriots for a living was like, you know what? I just don't think Drake May's a leader. I don't think Drake May's the guy. He fumbled in preseason week 1. I just don't think he's the guy. I don't think I can put that on Drake May yet. I don't. Can you? Is Drake May just never going to be the leader of this team as long as Mike Vrabel's the coach? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. You can find us here live on YouTube every weekday, high noon Eastern time, and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Zach Burke keeps us on the air. We talk nothing but Boston sports, and we'll do the same thing tomorrow on another edition of a little ditty that we like to call The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. We understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit twosains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.